So our next inductee is Chuck Steinmetz, who joined Orkin 55 years ago and is still going strong in the pest management industry today as chairman of Safer Pest Services. He also devotes time and efforts to a variety of philanthropic causes, which is just one of the many reasons we're here to celebrate him tonight. Let's take a look at his beginnings, his contributions, and his continued success today.
Even at age 77, Chuck Steinmetz still maintains enthusiasm that enabled him to climb the ladder of success in the pest management industry. But that enthusiasm could have gone quickly down the drain in 1962 during his first summer of work with Orkin Pest Control. He was doing subterranean termite control while first attending and then graduating from the University of Florida. It was hard, often thankless work, but he learned the ropes of the industry. Over Steinmetz's 12 years at Orkin, several tough lessons sunk in. Truly Nolan, son of fellow PMP Hall of Famer Truly Wheatfield Nolan. Steinmetz was hired over the phone and stayed with Nolan for 3 years. That's when Nolan got Steinmetz to realize that he'd be happiest being his own boss, adding that if Steinmetz needed any money to make it happen, Nolan would be happy to loan it to him. Steinmetz began looking around and encountered Middleton Pest Control, another Florida company that was only doing $100,000 at the time. The price was right, and 3 years later, under Steinmetz's guidance, Middleton was doing $500,000. Another 3 years, and it hit $1 million. And then Steinmetz says, the most interesting thing happened. Sears came on the news saying it had lots of customers, but no one to service them, because the company that had agreed to do the service had disappeared. I got on the phone the next day with the licensed business manager for Sears in Central Florida. I told the guy, I think I can fix your problem. The next day, 3 Sears guys came to my office and said they had 13,000 jobs, but hadn't done the work, just took the money. They had 600 active termite claims. I told them that we would have to retreat every one of those jobs. From that rocky start, Steinmetz started up All America Termite and Pest Control, doing business as Sears. Within 60 days, he and his team, which included termite technicians Joe Essex and Dick Batts, got the business back in shape. In 1985, the company was earning $5 million. By 1990, that figure would climb to $50 million. By 1996, sales were approaching $100 million. Sears decided it wanted to buy All America. Steinmetz agreed to sell it in January 1997, but made sure that Middleton was not part of the transaction. All America became Sears Termite and Pest Control, but by 2001 was sold to Terminix. At the time, it had approximately 1,500 employees and 100 offices, and year 2000 revenues were reported at $100 million. After effectively retiring in the mid-2000s, Steinmetz turned his attention to the not-for-profit world. He was married for 39 years to Lynn, who died in 2012, and with whom he had 2 sons and 3 grandchildren. 3 years later, he married Marjorie Pabst. In 2014, he and longtime colleague Jim Swaney launched Safer Home Services in Clearwater, Florida, later bringing on Dr. Phil Nichols. Today, he still follows a business recipe that has worked so well throughout his career. I always thought about what the salespeople needed to accomplish to get the sale. From there, success always followed.
I'm really honored to be in the company of such wonderful people, many of whom I've known for 45 or 50 years in the industry. And I thought you'd be interested to know how I got into this business. When I was a sophomore at the University of Florida working towards a degree in agriculture, I had to take Entomology 101. I was completely captivated by that study. And I called my mother and I told her I was going to study entomology. It just so happened in Miami, our house had termites. And she told the Orkin inspector that I was going to be an entomology student. And he said, well, send the kid down, we hire entomologists. So at spring break, I went down to the Orkin office in Miami, and I told the receptionist I was studying entomology. Could I talk to somebody about the future that might be forthcoming for me in the industry and with the company Orkin. She said, just a moment. Then this fella came out. He was a really big guy, 6'7", and he said, come into my office. I want to talk to you about what your future might be. That person's name was Taft Pierce, and some of you might know him. He was an absolutely magnificent person, and he became my mentor from that point on. And he gave me a job in the summers to learn how to do the technical work. And as soon as I graduated from the University of Florida, I had a job waiting for me. One other thing happened while I was there on that first visit. He said, I'd like you to meet the training director for this office and for this region of Orkin. And that training director was Bud Snyder. And so the two people that got me into the industry were two people that were absolutely the best people you could have ever had to teach you how to do things. And I have to tell you that working for Orkin was a real honor and a thrill because they took the time to train me, to teach me the fundamentals of management, to allow me to manage different size branches and different size districts where I had multi-location experience. Going forward in the industry and trying to build a company similarly, I had already been there with other people. Of course, now it was my money, so I wanted to make sure to do it right. One thing that I wanted to mention to you, that working for Truly Nolan was really an honor for me. He was the most special, the most genuine, the most giving and loving friend I think I've ever had. He was remarkable. And he told me one thing that always stuck with me. He said, if you learn how to do something very, very well and you don't share it with other people, it has no value. And so he impressed me with the way things should be in a business. Building the companies that we did, we had wonderful people to help us. We had a lot of fun doing it. We had no problem attacking the markets and taking market share, maybe from other companies, but expanding the industry also. And all of the things that we did became available to the whole industry. One of the things that we decided to do early on is that we never use sprays. We never used anything with odors or anything that had airborne particles. And we innovated using attractant baits, and we used to make them ourselves. We made simple syrup and boric acid for ants, and peanut butter and boric acid for roaches. And we use that basically on an injection basis throughout the house, and it completely eliminated roaches, and it completely eliminated ants, and therefore we were able to offer a once-a-year pest control system that absolutely worked terrifically. Along the way, there was a fellow named Phil Nichols, Doc we called him, a PhD, wonderful guy, terrific researcher, one of the best technical people I've ever been involved in. And we developed the whole system. And what we were proud to say is that on a once-a-year pest control basis, we basically had not quite one call back a year per account. That's how effective the service was. So it's with great pride that I've served in the industry, and how thankful I am that I had the opportunity to do all the things that I have done. I found out early in the business that if you really take care of your employees and you really take care of your customers, you will grow and you'll make money. And finally, recently at the Crummer School of Business at Rollins College, I explained to the students that we have such a unique industry. It takes not a lot of capital, okay? There's instant cash flow, and it's recurring revenue. And if you can't make that work, I don't think anything will. Thank you all very much.